This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th President of the United States.
Samurai sword on my back. You don't know how to act. Maybe you should relax. Maybe you should relapse. Just kidding. Stop.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the American Idiot Show. Took a week off last week. Glad to be back. And, we're going to dive right into it. We're going to start bringing people in here, and we will start. Oh, nobody's eating, so I guess we'll start with Tropic Thunder. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Money Mike?
Man, I always wait to see if I can catch somebody in the middle of a bite of something. And
You do that shit on purpose?
I definitely do it
You
on
did?
purpose. Okay, and let's shake things up. Let's go ahead and bring the Black Sheep on. Black Sheep, how you doing?
Hey, dude, I have to say, with the new intro and everything, the part that sells it for me is the voice. Welcome to the American Idiots Podcast. I'm Mike Carnahan, and we're bringing it to you live. Dude, the enthusiasm just sells it right there. I love it.
Hey, I tried my best 80s DJ voice.
Everybody give Don Vito a hand. That was awesome.
I'll give him some snaps.
Oh, Lord. Okay, with that being said, we'll go ahead and bring on the Manic Hispanic. Manny, how you doing this week?
Doing wonderful.
Hey, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. You enjoying Biden's America so far?
The rain has cleared up outside anyways. I don't know about the rain inside of Biden's head. But so far, no, I am not enjoying his reign, and I think there's a lot of workers that are no longer working that is not enjoying his reign either.
And we're definitely going to get into that. One of the executive orders that we're going to talk about tonight, I don't understand what the point of him signing it was. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring on the final member of our team here tonight, Richard the Spartan. Richard, how are you doing this week?
Pretty good, brother. Trying to nurse a sinus infection, but at least it's not the Rona, so I'm happy about that.
Trust me, you don't want to deal with that. It wasn't that bad for me, but I also know I got lucky.
Right.
Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to start off with the inauguration wrap-up, and we have a story from NBC News Now.
Let's watch these pictures. The president and first lady in their final steps outside the White House residence. We will watch Marine One as it departs. It's a short ride to Joint Base Andrews.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president and first lady of the United States, Donald J. Trump and Melania Trump.
We've gotten so much done that nobody thought would be possible, but I do want to thank Congress, and I want to thank all of the great people of Washington, D.C., all of the people that we worked with to put this miracle together. So, have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Gracious and merciful God, at this sacred time we come before you in need, indeed on our knees. But we come still more with hope and with our eyes raised anew to the vision of a more perfect union in our land.
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
The duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
it is now my great privilege and high honor to be the first person to officially introduce the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
Together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us.
When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame, and unafraid, the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking.
Shut the hell up. Of course, want to give the hat tip to NBC News Now for that clip. But, you know, I sat there and I actually was able to watch the inauguration. I was kind of multitasking because I was working at the same time. But a couple things struck me, and we're going to go piece by piece. The first thing that struck me, even though, you know, ideologically, she's not my best friend, I definitely felt the moment when Kamala took that oath of office and how big it was, you know.
Hold on. Kamala Harris isn't your best friend?
Shut the hell up. We're not breaking any news here.
Okay.
Anyway, I definitely felt the moment whenever she took that oath of office, and, you know, it was certainly something to you know, that we're going to learn about for the rest of our lives in history books, or at least children will. Manny Hispani, what did you think of the inauguration there?
A lot of pomp and circumstance, like it always is. Very ceremonious. I do think that the very talented black young woman who had that poem upstaged the majority of it.
Absolutely.
She by far stole the show until the Bernie Sanders deal came around. So I thought that was hilarious. But I do think it is funny how Biden really pushed hope, unity, light, decency, love, while they're still murmuring in the background about a second impeachment.
Very true. Very true. You know, and you mentioned the first words came out of your mouth was hope. I expected, because of who he was the vice president for, I expected a big message of hope. I expected it to be almost an Obama-like speech. I thought he did very well with what he said. And, of course, we'll get into it here in just a moment as far as how he's backed it up thus far, you know.
And he didn't have any of his regular stumbles like he does whenever he usually speaks.
He had one that I can remember. He did have one that I can remember. But as far as the speech goes, I thoroughly enjoyed the speech. I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck that was on Lady Gaga's shoulder. Like that big-ass bird thing?
Yeah, that's a bird.
She was far better than J-Lo.
Oh, J-Lo.
J-Lo forgot she was at the inauguration and started performing at the Super Bowl.
Why was everybody like hating on J-Lo? I guess I missed that part.
She,
it wasn't bad.
She took two songs that mixed them together that just made no sense to me.
Kind of like Is did Over the Rainbow and It's a Beautiful World.
Something else that I also noticed was how Kamala Harris hugged one person, but then just kind of fist bumped Biden.
I didn't even notice that.
Well, Biden is white.
So was the other guy that she hugged.
Who did
was
she
that
hug?
Her husband? That was
I don't know. I didn't. Was it her husband?
Yeah, yeah. She married a white dude.
Okay, so there you go.
How else did she become vice president?
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so Tolly, you kind of came in there a little bit. What was your overall impression of the inauguration?
It was okay, I guess. Like Manic Hispanic said, it was a lot of pomp and circumstance, and that just comes with every inauguration. Yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens. I don't. The
How
most
much of the
memorable thing for
feel-good
me,
speech actually comes true?
Yeah.
I just always remember J-Lo when I think about the inauguration.
That's not very good if you remember the musical performances more than. That's not a good inauguration. Richard,
But it was too much pomp and circumstance.
It was.
I just watched the every single bit of the inauguration I watched. I just watched a few minutes ago on this video, so I kind of boycotted it. I just refused to watch it. Honestly, I don't think I even watched Trump's inauguration in 2016. It's just not my thing. It's
right.
It's just for show. It doesn't mean anything. It's just some singers getting up there and singing. I'll put my 2 cents in on the debate of Lady Gaga and J-Lo. J-Lo's definitely hotter, but Lady Gaga has by far got the voice. She truly is talented.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Oh, Lady Gaga's amazing. I can agree with you there.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Sean. I know you were sitting there doing your little mannerisms while Joe was speaking. We'll go ahead and just stick to the inauguration. We're not to what he's done post-inauguration. Stick to the inauguration. What'd you think?
Nothing. I mean,
well, goddamn.
No, I really didn't. I mean, am I glad that Trump's not in office anymore? Yeah, I'm very happy about that. But it's like I said, even with Joe in the White House, nothing changed. There was no magic moment. There was no.
It's been 5 minutes. It's been 5 days, Sean. It's been 5 days.
No, but all these people expected this to happen, and it was a Wayne's World moment. Everything's going to change, and it's going to be this great democratic utopia. It's bullshit.
Yeah, no, I don't expect any of that. I actually fully expect to be sitting over here still bitching about how we need to hold our representatives accountable in government.
Absolutely.
Right,
until we fix that issue.
Most of us aren't the typical American who is out there voting.
Right.
That's true.
And he's talking about the typical American who is thinking, well, once we get Biden in here, all this Trump BS is going to be gone, and it's going to be this whole great world.
It's going to be so wonderful.
Very
it's going to
true.
be great. Yeah.
Very true. There was a lot of high expectations. Once again, though, I would like to remind everybody it's been 5 fucking days. That's it. I'm just saying, give them some time.
Yeah, we do this from week to week. We talk about politics all the time. We're all junkies when it comes to politics. Your average American isn't. And most people don't think for themselves. They go by whatever they're told, by whatever they watch, whether it's Fox or MSNBC or whatever. That's the sad part about it. People really don't talk about things like this like we do anymore. And I wish they did, because it would be a lot more interesting place to live if we could actually have these discussions without everybody, wanting to kill each other. Really.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that statement there. So one thing I wanted to get into, because I had an interesting conversation during the inauguration. I gave Mike Pence a lot of props to one of my leftist friends, and she said, "Since when did the bare minimum become something you should give somebody props for?" Because I gave him props for the way he acted at the inauguration and, well, just showing the hell up. And she said, "Since when does the bare minimum become something that you applaud?" But once again, I think in this case, number one, Mike stepped up where Donald kind of dropped the ball and decided to take his ball and go home a little early. So I think it was very admirable what Pence did on Inauguration Day and the night before, doing what Trump should have done, showing Biden around, et cetera, et cetera. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Is it just the bare minimum and we shouldn't, give him any shout out for that? Or How do you feel about that?
I'm petty. I wouldn't have showed up either. So,
yeah, I think it is bare minimum, but we have become a nation of bare minimum, anyways.
True.
I mean, you're looking at what 2-3 generations now participation trophies.
Right.
True.
I mean, it's we're happy with mediocre. Everything, every institution, everything that you can think of has lowered the standard and lowered the standard and lowered the standard to include all.
You know, Amanda makes a good point there, though. They would have bitched at Pence if he didn't show up. So, I mean...
Now, Amanda says then they would have bitched for him not showing up either. It's a no-win either way. I mean, technically, I guess you could say that. It's a catch-22, whether he shows up or not, because that is the reality of the 24-hour news cycle that we, live with, especially from the bias on, say, CNN and all of those, because they do go to the Democrat side. Fox News goes to the Republican side. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was his last day. I would have went and I'd have been like, "Hey, fuckers, what's up? Yeah, I'm here. Fuck all y'all." That's just me.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
You're cool.
I'd have been like, "Hey, Garth, yeah, sing one for me. Come on, buddy. Yeah, you weren't
Speaking
there
of
when
which,
I was inaugurated.
You actually
going and hanging out with the crowd and everything to make the Secret
Yeah.
Service work.
You said something that was
fun.
you said something that actually triggered a memory in my mind. I don't know if you noticed this, but the person that escorted Kamala, besides her husband, obviously, was the security officer that
Notice the
held
black
off the
woman was
protesters.
escorted by a cop.
The what?
I said, notice the black woman was escorted by a cop.
I tried to give a guy a shout out for doing a damn good job and getting a fucking raise, and
Dude,
you just ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the asshole of the group. Black sheep. Yeah.
Oh well, I just wanted to give him a shout out. Okay.
Yeah, he
So
was a cool
moving
dude.
on here. Moving on here to the past 5 days, Biden has signed at least 30 executive orders in the past 5 days. And, Manny Hispani posed this question earlier in the chat. He said, where's this unity that you spoke of in the inaugural address? We actually have 2 videos that I want to play. One is of Biden from the White House official YouTube, and then one is from Newsmax.
Well, this is going to be the first of many engagements we're going to have in here. And I thought with the state of the nation today, there's no time to waste, get to work immediately. As we've indicated earlier, we're going to be signing a number of executive orders over the next several days to week. And I'm going to start today. The compounding crisis of COVID, COVID-19, along with the economic crisis following that, and climate crisis, racial equity issues. And, some of the executive actions I'm going to be signing today are going to help change the course of the COVID crisis. We're going to combat climate change in a way that we haven't done so far, and advance racial equity and support other underserved communities. We're going to rebuild our economy as well. And these are just all starting points. We're going to, in the process of rebuilding the economy, do what I said throughout the campaign and while running rebuild the backbone of the country, middle class. And so there's going to be a lot of focus on that. And I think some of the things we're going to be doing are going to be bold and vital, and there's no time to start like today. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm proud of today's executive actions. I'm going to start by keeping the promises I made to the American people. Long way to go. These are just executive actions. They are important, but we're going to need legislation for a lot of the things we're going to do. And the first order I'm going to be signing here relates to COVID, and it's requiring, as I said all along, where I have authority, mandating masks be worn, social distancing be kept on federal property, on interstate commerce, etc. So this is the first one I'm signing. And the second one I'm signing here is the support for...
Okay, we don't need to see all that. Here's the Newsmax.
And I'm directing the Office of Management and Budget to review waivers to make sure they are only used in very limited circumstances. For example, when there's an overwhelming national security, humanitarian, or emergency need here in America. This hasn't happened before. It will happen now. Here's what else we're going to be doing. Under the Build Back Better Recovery Plan, we'll invest hundreds of billions of dollars in buying American products and materials to modernize our infrastructure, and our competitive strength will increase in a competitive world. That means millions of good-paying jobs using American-made steel and technology to rebuild our roads, our bridges, our ports, and to make them more climate resilient, as well as make them able to move faster and cheaper and cleaner to transport American-made goods across the country and around the world, making us more competitive. It also means replenishing our stockpiles to enhance our national security. As this pandemic has made clear, we can never again be in a position where we have to rely on a foreign country that doesn't share our interest in order to protect our people during a national emergency. We need to make our own protective equipment, essential products and supplies. And we'll work with our allies to make sure they have resilient supply chains as well. We'll also make historic investments in research and development, hundreds of billions of dollars, to sharpen America's innovative edge in markets where global leadership is up for grabs. Markets like battery technology, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy. The federal government also owns an enormous fleet of vehicles, which we're going to replace with clean electric vehicles made right here in America by American workers, creating millions of jobs, 1 million auto worker jobs in clean energy and vehicles that are net zero emissions. And together, this will be the largest mobilization of public investment in procurement, infrastructure, and R&D since World War II. And with the executive order I'll be signing today, we'll increase Buy American requirements for these kinds of projects and improve the way we measure domestic content requirements. For example, right now, if you manufacture a vehicle for the federal government, you need to show that at least 50% of the components of that vehicle were made in America. But because of loopholes that have been expanded over time, you can count the least valuable possible parts as part of that 50% to say made in America, while the most valuable parts, the engines, the steel, the glass, are manufactured abroad. So basically, we're batting 0 for 2. The content threshold of 50% aren't high enough. And the way
Okay, we'll stop there. I just get tired of hearing the main drone on about some shit. Okay, so with that being said, so as far as the exact one he was talking about there today, the Buy American executive order, I see nothing wrong with that.
Didn't Trump do that?
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say. I saw nothing wrong with it when Trump was talking about it, 4 years ago.
Right.
I agree.
Dude, hey, you know what? And a lot of people have been saying this about me. They're like, oh, man, Sean's going conservative. He's going conservative. All this shit. And it's like, no, I haven't. But I hate hypocrisy. Okay?
How's it hypocrisy? I don't mind the fact
first off,
Trump did it.
No, I'm an honest person, and when I see hypocrisy, I'm going to point it out. Yes, Trump did it, but Biden's trying to play it off as if though Trump did not do it, and that pisses me off. He should be honest about it. He should say, look, Trump tried to do this, and we're going to continue doing the same thing that Trump did because it worked. That's
Sean,
what you say.
The two most dishonest people in the United States. The two most dishonest people in the United States is the politician and the lawyer.
Yeah,
true.
I got two things to say.
Every politician does that coming in. Every politician piggybacks off of the previous administration's successes while diminishing them for their failures. And they try to play off those successes as if they're ideas of this new administration. I'm not gonna knock Joe just like I didn't knock Trump when he did it. Right. Because when that happens, that they're piggybacking off of each other, that's that middle ground where us as Americans, us the people, we agree, And so that's shit that I'm not going to sit here and bitch about. Are they actually doing it though? Because how many administrations do I have to hear say they're going to make more American-made jobs in America, owned by our country?
Right.
and they never do. Obama promised that too for two fucking terms.
Right?
Every
Trump
president has
said
done
it,
that.
Biden's saying it, and just like she's saying right now, nothing's going to come of it at all.
Very true. Richard, you were going to say something?
Yeah. The first thing I want to say about it, and maybe y'all will agree with this and maybe y'all won't. Can y'all, in my opinion, I've imagined had Trump signed 30 executive orders in his first 3 days, the 24/7 loop that would have been on CNN, MSNBC. He's a dictator.
People would have lost their fucking minds.
They would have lost their minds.
Yeah.
And my second point I'm going to make, though, is really the majority of these executive orders are meaningless because they're not actually executive orders. They're executive suggestions. I'm going to suggest something to somebody and put it as an executive order to make it look like I'm doing something.
That's actually interesting you said that, because I heard him say in the first video, even though he can't talk up apparently when he's wearing a mask, he said something about, a lot of these are going to have legislation behind it.
Right,
Well,
which
Joe,
is not an
what's the
executive order.
point?
Right.
And now I'm going to go on the offensive and kind of attack Joe. What the fuck was the point of shutting down the Keystone Pipeline?
Yeah.
Like, at this point, it's like Obamacare for me. It fucking happened. Deal with it. Like Democrats were saying 4 years ago, it fucking happened. It's happening while it's going on. Fucking deal with it.
And who was it that told them to just go find other jobs?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you just put
I don't remember who it was. There was somebody that told them, stop whining and just go find other jobs.
Like, there's no excuse for the fucking pipeline situation. Just like there's no excuse for the impeachment situation, there's no excuse for signing an executive order for the Keystone. Nobody's really fucking sitting there saying, "Oh my God, we've got to stop this." Still,
there is an excuse to do the impeachment. Is because they want to stop him from running in 2024.
True.
I say don't do that because Tom Cotton wants to run. And he doesn't want Trump to run, so he's not going to say anything. If you have Tom Cotton versus a Donald Trump, Biden is guaranteed to win.
Interesting. Well, I mean, you also got to look, as far as 24 goes, you also got to look at Donald's floated the idea of starting his own political party in and of itself. But with that being said, though, once again, I look at a lot of these executive orders as okay, whatever. Like the fucking every Republican I have on Facebook has mentioned, oh, he signed an executive order requiring face masks on federal property, then broke it numerous times. Okay, cool, whatever. But literally, the one that I just can't physically comprehend is the Keystone Pipeline. Like, and Sean, I know you mentioned about the Native Americans' land. Okay, I understand that. I do understand that. But at the same time, 4 years ago, when y'all were saying, when we were talking about repealing and replacing Obamacare, the Democrats were shouting across the aisle saying, it's law, deal with it, just move on. Why can't we move past the Keystone Pipeline?
Well, the thing with Keystone is, what I read from two different sources is they're trying to reroute it around the native res land. Mm-hmm. And as someone indigenous,
I don't see nothing wrong with
thinking
that.
It's okay to take what little scraps they have left for their culture.
I don't see anything wrong with that, but scrapping the pipeline completely seems pointless at this point.
No, it does not. No, scrapping the pipeline is an American issue, and it's what America was built on, right? Which is freedom. These indigenous people own this land. This is their land. And all of a sudden, crony capitalists come in and say, oh, well, we're just going to go ahead and put this in here. We don't give a shit about your environmental needs or your concerns. We're going to do this no matter what because we're interested in making money. Fuck you guys. And now it's going to stop. And that's a great thing for America.
So, Sean, explain this to me, though. Tolly just said from two sources she's got that they were working on a deal to move around native land.
They were.
Then what the fuck's the problem with the fucking pipeline?
If they can move around native land, then that's cool. But the original pipeline was to go through native land.
But what did he do? He stopped it and said, fuck that pipeline.
He needs to stop it until they actually have a plan that says
He's not going to he's not going to sign off on any plan because he's back in the Paris Climate Accord, which is against oil. So he's not going to worry about it anymore.
Wow,
I
got my red on tonight. I'm speaking like a Republican, but no, for real. It literally, especially if you can transact getting that across native land, and you can actually reroute it. Fuck, let them build the goddamn pipeline.
But seriously, do we really need to be dependent on oil anymore? We have different.
We're dependent on oil right now.
No, we don't. No, we're destroying the planet. We need to go ahead and cut this off. We need to go ahead and move on to different sources of energy, because by 2050, most of us will be dead. By 2050, there's going to be a new world, and the next generation is going to be dealing with a lot of bullshit. Now, most of us won't be. Most of us will be dead.
How is pulling oil out of the ground destroying the earth?
Right.
Dude, it destroys the earth all over. Like, how many oil spills have we had? I mean, just look at Mayflower, Arkansas. Did you see the oil spill that happened there?
Yeah, it's an oil spill. That's not just pulling oil out of the ground. That's somebody that made a mistake.
Right, and even the Keystone Pipeline has had a break already. It already had a break 2 years ago.
Okay, again, that's a failure on a system. I don't understand how pulling oil out of the ground destroys the earth.
You put at risk the ecosystem that survives in that land. When you're looking at indigenous communities, they do still hunt their food.
Well, lightning, volcanoes, there's all kinds of stuff that puts risk.
I'm not done talking.
Okay.
I'm not done. This puts every part of that ecosystem at risk. When you look at indigenous ways of life, the reason that they are so in such a fine balance is because they're keeping everything in that ecosystem healthy. They rely on the water in that ecosystem other than just the water provided by the city. Practices like indigenous practices are why we have clean water.
Let me ask y'all a question, Danny, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I apologize.
Tali.
I'm sorry. Tali, okay. What is the solution to oil?
I'm not saying we should stop using oil completely.
Oh, I am.
If you guys are giving me a chance to finish what I was saying, like you gave Sean. But what I'm saying is, we can keep using oil because there is an indefinite amount of time that we must rely on it. But why is everyone so fucking against us taking the time to research and find other more reliable sources of energy for the things that we rely on in everyday life, like our vehicles and different ways to run our electricity, like windmills?
Tali, I would counter that by saying I have no problem with researching it, but what's the problem with relying on our own resources rather than sending our money abroad to get oil from Saudi or what have you?
Right. And they do research this.
When you put at risk the constitutions that our forefathers, that the previous administrations drafted to protect indigenous communities, we are going against that word and that sacred bond that is the final protection for those communities. We've already stripped indigenous communities of everything else. Now we want to go back on some of our contracts for a little bit of land instead of taking another damn year to find a different route to get oil.
But
we just want to go ahead and
you just said they are trying to look into that.
The reason Joe Biden, if you guys would let me finish what I'm fucking saying, like you do every man on this show, if you would let me, the woman, finish what I'm saying, goddamn, you guys are fucking thick. You guys are starting to piss me off because you keep interrupting me. I'm being ganged up on by 3 Republicans that are asking me for my answers, but they won't shut up long enough to let me talk like they will let Sean.
I've been interrupted a couple times. I don't have a vagina.
I'm
So.
supposed to be
Just
before
saying.
you, and you've been speaking before me, Richard.
No, actually, I've spoke twice this whole entire podcast.
Oh,
It's all
the
good,
two
though.
times you spoke before my turn, and I interrupted you to take my turn. So if you guys could let me speak before I just get off for the night and wonder why I keep coming on a show where I never get to talk. Like,
okay,
that's
speak.
trying to piss me off. I don't want to. I don't fucking like you guys tonight. This is bullshit.
Sorry, guys. I can't listen to that shit. But
like I was saying, the volcanoes are putting at risk the native areas and wildlife and all of that. Lightning storms put at risk. I mean, you have all this kind of stuff that puts at risk everything.
No, I would definitely say that, yes, there are environmental concerns, lightning storms, flash fires, all sorts of different things that happen in indigenous cultures. But we're adding to that, and we shouldn't add to that. We're adding a non-natural, escalation to the problem. And, Tally is Native Hawaiian, so she takes it very personally as far as indigenous culture being invaded by, white corporations. That's how she sees it. I would agree with her. I mean, the Hawaiian Islands were taken from the Native American, the Native Hawaiian people. It was literally stolen.
But nobody's disagreeing with her. What we're saying is if there's a plan to move it around, what's the problem?
Well, the thing is that they're not moving around fast enough. They're not coming up with a plan that is set in stone. They're not doing this the way that they're supposed to do. They're just continuing.
So we just cut off the whole project.
The Trump administration just allowed them to keep going through indigenous land without going around because they pretty much thought, well, if he wins, then fuck it. We don't have to worry about it. They can keep going through. Well, no, that shouldn't have happened. It should have ceased during the Trump administration. And they should have.
Honestly, it did. You know what his wording was on that?
What's that?
That it could continue January 20th.
Right. But they were still
Trump said
working
it
on
could
it.
continue January 20th.
But they were working on
knowing
it.
that Biden wouldn't let it continue January 20th.
Right. I mean, Biden was going to stop it because of where it was going.
So Trump put that date in there on purpose because he wouldn't have to act on it. It just looked like he was acting on it.
But this started during the Obama administration, where President Obama failed to protect indigenous people and their land while he was in office. He should have done that then. There was a lot of things that President Obama did not do that he should have done. And he just kind of left it to the next administration, who was like, fuck it, go through, whatever. We don't, land is land. They don't understand the importance of sacred land to indigenous people. I really don't understand that. I'm not an indigenous person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Native American. But to Native Americans, land is sacred.
I would absolutely agree with that statement, but what you're saying is they should move quicker. I completely agree with that. They should have never invaded the indigenous land to begin with.
Yes.
But with that being said, that doesn't mean scrap the whole damn project and continue sending billions and billions of dollars to foreign countries for their oil when we could be spending that money right here in America.
No, we wouldn't be spending it here in America. We're still paying for the oil out of Canada. We were still paying another country for their oil.
He does have a point there. It is coming out of Canada.
Right.
But it's still cheaper than having it shipped over. That was the point of it, was low cost.
It's shittier oil because it's coming from shale. It's a more dangerous oil than oil that actually comes out of the ground. This is processed through a shale process, which is actually worse for the environment than it is to just pump it out of the ground. So there's two strikes against it that I was always against. One, the indigenous land. Two, that it's going through shale, which is a really bad process, which really does poison the entire environment. Well, if we had actual oil up there, that would be better. But this is actually called dirty oil. They actually call it that.
Sean, the reason I asked that question earlier to you about what's your alternative to the oil is because if you look at the ways that the other can you still hear me? Oh, yes. You're on here. That was okay. You just shifted over. Okay. So anyway, because if you look at the ways that these other renewable resources are either mined or manufactured. I mean, they are very, they're unclean processes in themselves. I actually recently did a study out of curiosity on what it takes to mine the lithium, to create the lithium for like lithium batteries in the electric cars. And they say the bad part about it is it requires so much water that it actually, in places that are already having shortages on water, it could actually create a water shortage issue in America. So, I mean, there's a problem with all of it. None of it's perfect.
There's a problem. Yeah, there's a problem with most of it. I would agree with that. And here we are. We're human beings. We've sent people to the moon. We can solve this problem, and we need to. And that's where I come from. We are an intelligent species that solves problems, and that's what we can do. We can solve this problem without destroying our planet. It is possible. Unfortunately, crony capitalists are like, no, we're making too much money doing it this way. Fuck that. We don't care if the world goes under because I'm not going to be here in 2050. Joe Biden's not going to be here. Mitch McConnell's not going to be here. They don't give a fuck. They want what they got right now, and they don't care what's going to happen. And that's the sad part is that, people like myself, people like, Tropic Thunder, we're thinking about the future generations. What kind of world are they going to face in 2050? It's 2020 right now. 30 years from now, or 2021, 29 years from now, how bad is the world going to actually be? They're saying that it could raise the temperature by 5 degrees across the entire planet. That's catastrophic to our species. We wouldn't survive that.
How long have they been saying that and been wrong? That's my problem with climate science. I don't deny that there is a possibility that we contribute to the rising temperature of the earth. I'm open to that possibility for sure. I'm not a climate denier, but what I am saying is that the science on it is really sketchy at this point to where, like I said, the best job in the world is being a meteorologist because it's the only job you get paid to be wrong 90% of the time on,
No, I agree. A lot of it,
we don't know.
Yes, a lot of it has been wrong. I mean, when Al Gore came out with, that film that he did, An Inconvenient Truth, he was about 40 years behind the curve. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he was trying to project these numbers that were going to happen in our lifetime. And he was wrong. It's not going to happen in Al Gore's lifetime. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. But my children, that's when it's going to start. 50, 60 years from now, they're really going to start seeing this. I mean, if you look at Norfolk, Virginia, the flooding that's going on, one of our major naval facilities that's there that we actually build all of our Navy ships from, they have flooding in this town every single year. It's getting worse and worse and worse. They don't know how to deal with it. They want to spend $1.9 billion to protect this city from the rising waters from the ocean. 50% of the coral reefs have died, across the planet. We're talking about a species that has survived 200 million years. But in the last 50 years, we've killed 50% of it. These things are actually happening. We are seeing this on conservative and liberal sides of the science spectrum. They're both starting to agree. They're starting to line up. We have to do something very quickly, or else something catastrophic is going to happen to the species and we're going to go extinct. Except for the super wealthy who can go underground. They might survive another 20, 30 years, and then due to inbreeding, they're going to all die out. But
see, I just don't see it. And like I said, I think we all should be good stewards of our planet. I think that we should all take care of our planet, do our best on an individual basis to, treat our planet right. I am completely against it. Irritates me to see people throw something out the window.
Right.
I hunt, but I am also very, very animal rights advocate. You know, I want everything to be done as humanely as possible in the treatment of animals. I don't like it when people just leave their dog chained up outside. You know, it drives me crazy.
There's a lot of liberals out there that are absolutely against hunting, and I'm like, you know what, shut the fuck up. You know, we've been doing that for millions of years. Our species has been doing it as we evolve. Hunting's not a bad thing. What we need to teach people is when we go out into nature, we need to leave nature the way we went into it. You know, there's too many times I've been to Lake Catherine and different places like that, and I see the water bottles thrown around and all this other bullshit. My family and I, when we go hiking, we take a trash bag with us. We pick up all the trash that we see. You know, sometimes we've come out of there with a full bag before, and that's bullshit. But most people don't respect nature. Most people don't have any kind of contact with nature at all. And it's a difficult thing when you are raised with television, you're raised with the internet and all this different kind of stuff. You know what? Everybody needs to grow up a little bit, go out to the fucking woods and just walk around and enjoy nature, and then start learning how to hunt, start learning how to grow things. Man, just pick a spot in your fucking yard and grow something. Learn how to live with nature, because pretty soon we're not going to have this shit if we don't start.
One thing that we'll move on, or I'll move on after this. One thing that I definitely, agree with you on, and both sides do this so much, is there's just so much virtue signaling out there. You know, one minute you'll have somebody screaming about climate change and taking care of our planet, and then you watch them throw a bottle out the window. And I actually had that personally, somebody riding in a vehicle with me, throw a bottle out the window, and they are that type. And I'm like, really? Did you just do that? Like, it's glass. I'm like, it don't matter. Like, that's trash, you know, and just so that's one thing that I definitely agree with you on is, you know, I hate the virtue signaling. You know, at least I have a lot more respect for people like you who at least are true to what they stand behind. I radically disagree with you on a lot of things, but at the same time, at least you believe what you're saying.
Right. I mean, there is no perfect form of government. Capitalism's not perfect. People that are on board with communism, that's not perfect. There's so many flaws and so many systems that are out there. But God damn it, we went to the fucking moon. We can figure this out. You know, I say this time and time. I've been saying it for 10 years. If we can go to the goddamn moon, we can figure this shit out. We just have to stop and do it. You know? I mean, not everybody can be a fucking billionaire in the type of society that we need to create for our species to survive. You know, as long as we have people that have billions of dollars and people, I mean, just in America, people starve to death in this fucking country, the greatest country on the face of the planet. People starve to death every day.
But that's lazy. If they're starving to death in America, there's so many programs that can help them. If you starve to death, it's because you won't get up off your butt and go get food stamps. I mean, I'm sorry. There's so many.
I mean, literally, I've been talking to people for 10, 20 years about these different subjects. I've looked at what people have to do to go through SNAP and different benefit programs and things like that. A lot of people get denied. Okay, and it's not just because of income. It's not because of color. It's not because of different things. Sometimes the system just fails people. Sometimes they fall through the cracks and people fucking die. And no one should fucking die of starvation. No one should die of an impacted tooth because they got blood poisoning and it went to their heart and it killed somebody. You know, these are things in the greatest country of the world that should never happen. We can't claim greatness if we have people dying of such, you know, frivolous things. The mortality rate in America, we're a first world country. We have the highest infant mortality rate of all first world countries. How is that fucking possible? You know?
I don't know.
That's outside of abortion, though. I mean, you look at it that way. I get what you're saying, yes. But just the infant mortality rate in this nation of babies that are born, we have the highest rate of infants dying in this nation.
Okay, but let's put some facts on that. What are they dying from?
All sorts of things. They're dying of disease. They're dying of malpractice. They're dying of things that were missed during prenatal care. They didn't get the right prenatal care. There's all sorts of things that happen. Again, the greatest nation that ever was, we shouldn't be facing those fundamental issues. That should have already been solved. You see what I'm saying? There are so many
How
things.
you going to throw malpractice and the wrong prenatal care in the same sentence, though? I mean, that's two different things.
Because it happens. It absolutely happens. People have bad medical care. People have no prenatal care at all because they can't afford it. That happens in America.
But I don't see how any program is going to change malpractice.
If we had
a bad doctor is a bad doctor, period.
A bad doctor is a bad doctor, yes. But if you had universal health care and you didn't have medicine for profit, you wouldn't have to worry about so much malpractice.
You would have the government, which is incompetent, running our health care, which it sucks at everything.
What's the greatest health care system in the world?
There's no motivation for them to be the best because of equity. I'm going to start a drinking game where every time Joe Biden or any of the administration says equity in their statement, I got to take a drink. I'm going to be an alcoholic, but I'm going to start a drinking game.
But the two greatest healthcare systems in the entire world are in Japan and Germany. Okay, both of those were created by the United States based on all the numbers that are out there. You can look it up all day long. Google, Bing. Who has the greatest healthcare systems in the world? Germany is number one. Japan is number two. Who created those? The United States. The United States created those after World War II, a universal healthcare system for both of those nations. They have the best healthcare systems in the entire world. We can't do that because there's no money in it. But for them, they have the best healthcare systems in the world. You can look it up time and time again.
I'm going to, because I looked up your Norfolk thing, and it does talk about the sea level rising, but it says Norfolk has it worse. The land pushed up by glaciers to the north thousands of years ago is sinking as much as 1.5 inches per decade. It's not just seas rising. That section of land is actually sinking.
Yeah, but that land wouldn't be sinking if those glaciers weren't melting.
Which has nothing to do with climate.
No, if the glacier wouldn't be sinking.
Right, I see his point. He's saying the glaciers are eroding because of climate change.
Okay, like if I had ice cubes in this beer right here, right, and they melted, they would not raise the level because they're already inside the drink, right?
No, what I'm saying is this report says that the land that was pushed up by glaciers thousands of years ago. It's not saying the glaciers are melting now. It's just saying the land that was pushed up is now sinking.
So it was pushed up by glaciers. Those glaciers are melting. They're going away. So the land is sinking back to where it was, right?
No. From what this is reading, those glaciers are gone already.
Okay. So they went away and the land is sinking. If those glaciers were still there, the land wouldn't be sinking, right?
The glaciers disappeared thousands of years ago.
I mean, are we sure of this? Is that what it says?
This is what the report says.
It says that they went away thousands of years ago?
It said that the land that was pushed up by glaciers to the north thousands of years ago is now sinking.
So it was pushed up.
Scientists also believe that a slowing Gulf Stream is causing seas to rise faster.
Okay.
What are we doing that's slowing a Gulf Stream down?
Heating the planet. Heating the entire planet, heating the oceans themselves actually slows the currents that go through the ocean. I mean, Princeton University has done studies on this, and they don't just study water levels. They study water, they study the land, they study the air, they also study ice glaciers all over the planet, right? So they look at these models, and we're looking at 30 years of research, and they're saying by 2050, again, I mean, I said this earlier, that the average temperature could raise by 5 degrees on the planet, which is catastrophic to our species.
Okay, y'all, I'm stepping in because y'all just talking in circles.
We are, yeah.
It's a religious argument.
The actual
it's just like religion.
The actual question we wanted to throw in here was Does Biden taking this unilateral action and making these executive orders, does it promote the unity that he promised and the the reaching across the aisle that he promised in his inaugural address? We'll start with you, Black Sheep.
Anything in his inaugural address, I mean, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. Anything at all. I don't trust the man. He's a politician. He's a Democrat. I'm not on the bandwagon that he's the great white hope. He's not going to save America. And I've been saying this for months. He's not the guy. It's just not going to happen.
Manny Hispani?
No. He preaches one thing, but his actions are not in line with what he's saying.
Okay. Richard?
Right. I mean, I agree with both of them. I mean, it's and at this point, once you, as far as reaching across the aisle, once you've been so divisive, it's hard to come back and jump back in and say, oh, well, now I'm going to unite the country, behind this cause. I mean, it's, you're a sucker if you fall for it, basically.
So here's where I am on this. Like I said, the only one really I had an issue with was Keystone, but some of these I feel like actually needed immediate action. We're talking the mask mandate. I think that should have been in effect on federal property. I think that should have been in effect 6 months ago. So yeah, I go ahead and sign an executive order. Things like that, dealing with COVID or something dealing with, like, I don't even necessarily despise the Paris Climate Agreement. I don't necessarily dislike him reversing the travel ban, the Muslim travel ban that Trump implemented either.
It's not a Muslim travel ban.
Do I know?
It's not a Muslim travel ban. That's the media. That's the leftist media lie, is that it's a Muslim travel ban. It's not a Muslim travel ban. It's from countries that you can't actually verify someone's identity, basically, before they come to our country. There's no way to do a background check or find anything out about them before they come.
And they are countries that have connections to terrorism.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. See, I agree with these guys on that one. I don't care if it. But then again, I guess I'm the extremist in the group. I don't care if we ban Muslims. I don't like religious extremists. So fuck all those guys. I don't want them over here anyway. If they want to come over here and integrate into America and actually be peaceful, then that's cool. But is there a peaceful Islam? I haven't seen it in my lifetime. So yeah, fuck all of them.
I mean, touche.
I mean, 9/11 comes to mind every time you say the word Muslim. I'm sorry. I agree with conservatives on this one issue that I don't want them here. I don't give a shit. If their country sucks and they want to come here, sure, I would give you, refugee status to come here. But goddamn, be a fucking American. Don't bring that bullshit over here and disrespect our fucking country and bring Sharia law here and try to honor killings and shit on your own family because they don't want to be Muslim anymore. Fuck that. That's not fair.
I would agree there. Where I disagree is the people that aren't extremists now have no ability to travel within the country. Let's say I lived in Saudi and now I can't come back, So you're right. It's not a Muslim travel ban. It's a travel ban from, I believe, quite a few Islamic countries, but
right.
It's not a Muslim ban. You're right. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to let you.
Hold on. Before we go on, hold on. I wrote a lot of stuff down.
Yeah, we didn't go through all the 30 executive orders either. There's a lot of them.
We just spent 30 minutes on the Keystone.
The DACA path to citizenship. I don't understand why they are pushing so hard to get these DACA recipients a path to citizenship when they have thousands of other immigrants who have had paperwork in and paid money and have done all kinds of things to become citizens that they're still just kind of leaving in the wind.
So me and you are going to disagree on this. I completely support a pathway to citizenship for anybody here illegally. That's one of the big things that I agreed with Rubio on. I think we're spending entirely too much money trying to get these people out when we could spend the same amount of money saying, hey, if you want to be a legal citizen here, if not, we'll go ahead and deport you then.
Right, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a pathway to it. I'm saying that they shouldn't leave the other people hanging.
They should do it in order of who got their paperwork in and then worry about the DACA recipients.
Well, and I think we've all agreed on this as far as immigration goes before. I think you should take away any money requirement as well with trying to become a citizen. Paperwork, I have no problem with paperwork. You're right. I think it should become a first come, first serve situation. If you've got this big stack of paperwork that you've worked on for hours upon hours to become a citizen of this country,
right? But
DACA, right, you should be in line.
DACA was created for children of people who came here illegally that were born here and don't have citizenship. That's what DACA was originally intended for. And our Constitution says that if you're born here, that you are a citizen, but these people have to fight for citizenship anyway. How many people served in our military through Puerto Rico and Mexico, different places like that have been deported over the last 4 years? A lot of service members, Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, have been deported over this shit.
Well, and here's the other thing.
I don't agree that everybody that puts on the uniform should automatically be a citizen.
Right.
But, I mean, if you were born here because your parents came here to escape something terrible and you've lived a good life and you aren't, one of these people that extremist conservatives say are rapists and murderers and things like that, yes, you should have a way to citizenship. You should have a pathway towards that. That's what DACA was for. Not 11 million people overnight. I mean, Jesus, Reagan did that shit. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
He did.
Yeah. And so did Bush. What, Bush did, 9 million? Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Biden's just
Shut up.
Republican Party, man. He is a Republican. Come on.
Here's the thing, though. Like I said, I agree with the pathway to citizenship. I agree with all this. The one thing, though, that I will say is that Trump took a minority of immigrants in this country, and he made it seem like they were the majority of people trying to enter this country. And in that he really shined a magnifying glass upon the people that were coming over here committing crimes and things like that. And he played it well where he was able to make it look like a majority of all people. And, there are people that believe that a majority of immigrants in this country that are here illegally are just here to live off the state and, commit crimes, kill people, et cetera, et cetera. There are people that I talk to that believe that. I don't believe that by any stretch of the imagination. However, I do agree that part of this pathway to citizenship does need to include a background check so you can verify that somebody is, not coming over here and, they're a felon or something like that. You know what I mean?
Part of the Cuban prison release like in the 70s.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I think that there needs to be stipulations, but I completely think that we would save a ton of money by, number one, this wall was kind of pointless. Number two, the deportations, these mass deportations. You're spending just as much money rounding these people up, housing them in these facilities, than you would if you were just like, okay, here you go. Here's a stack of papers. Get it to me by this date. If not, we're gonna have to send you back to Mexico, and you got to come back and start the process over again. What's wrong with that, in my opinion?
I don't think the wall was a mistake. I think it is needed so that you keep people coming in through specific routes so that you know who is coming in. I don't think it's a mistake because nations who may want to harm the United States can just fly into Mexico and then cross. I mean, because we have a travel ban doesn't mean Mexico does.
Right.
So we can ban the terrorists from coming onto our soil via planes from certain countries, but Mexico may not follow suit, and they could just fly to Mexico and then cross the border at any place that's not secure.
Right, but I think that's where the background check does come into place. I mean, then again, what
But if
terrorists
there's
do
no
you know that's
wall or
actually
nothing
going to
to
go
keep
through
them
that
going
process?
a specific direction, you're not going to have a background check.
Well, true, but that's exactly my point. What terrorist do you know that's actually going to go through the process of trying to become a legal citizen of the country? I don't believe any of the 9/11 terrorists tried to become citizens of the U.S. I could be wrong on that, and if I am, I do apologize. But I mean, we're sitting here putting two different types of people in the same category. We're not going to have terrorists trying to become documented and legal citizens of the U.S. They're going to do what the fuck they want to do, and that's why, like I said, you have a time limit. If you don't get this paperwork back to me in 2 months, then I'm sorry, we have to deport you, and you have to come in and start the process over again.
Right, but you were talking about no need for the border wall, and I was trying to tell you why I thought the border wall was needed.
So,
because otherwise, those people that aren't going to bother with the paperwork anyways will just cross over, and you'll never know that they're even here.
The age-old argument is build a wall, and I'm going to show you a ladder, or I can dig underneath it. You know, they're not going to find ways around it. Like,
Sure, some will, but it's not. But it's better than not having one at all. You know, I mean, a condom breaks every once in a while too, but it's better than not having one at all. You know what I'm saying? Stuff happens, but I mean, for the most part, you know.
But if a condom breaks and a woman wants to terminate that pregnancy, that's wrong, right?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yeah. It is.
It's your job to inform her that the condom broke. She gets the morning after pill.
But if it breaks, and she makes the choice to have that baby, I'm legally responsible, so I don't get a choice in it, right? Right? I'm responsible for that child for the rest of their life.
To a degree, you do, but if the laws were okay, so first off, there's nothing magical about a penis that changes a woman. So this whole idea that women that are virgins are, you know, just the best. Women can fuck whoever they want, as many people as they want, and they're still just as great as a fucking man. So that's point number one. Two, if a guy is so worried about that issue right there, go have a fucking vasectomy because it's reversible. You can go have a vasectomy. Oh, wait, no. Doctors won't let you do that.
Wait, hold on. How did we get into this? We were just talking about illegal immigration, and now all of a sudden we're on board.
No, we always sidetrack on something else. Yeah. No. We should probably get back on track. But, you know, the thing is that ultimately it's a man's responsibility to take care of his own shit, right?
Right.
We agree on that?
Yes.
You don't want to have kids. You don't want to be responsible for somebody or something like that. Go get your shit cut. You know, if a doctor won't do it, go down to Mexico. They'll fucking do it. They don't give a shit. They'll cut your shit right off. They don't care, right? They'll take your balls right off. They don't give a fuck, right? You can still fuck all day long. But the thing is that we shouldn't demonize women for wanting to be as sexual as men are, okay?
I don't agree. I don't do that.
But most people that I should say are religious conservatives do. Men can do whatever they want. They can fuck whoever they want because it's in their nature. That's what I've heard my entire life. Women can't because then they're whores and sluts. And we slut shame women for enjoying sex like men do. And that's just not right. Our society's been built on that. And it's just wrong.
Yeah, I mean.
You're right. Now, Sean, I proposed something while you were gone. But, you know, I really kind of want your opinion on it, too, because it kind of attacks both sides of the argument here. I know you're all for open borders and let anybody come that wants to. And obviously the Republicans want, you know, a more strict situation as far as immigration. I said this, why not just hand them a stack of paperwork? Say, here, you got 2 months to fill it out. No money requirement, nothing. Give it back to me. If you don't, we're going to have to deport you and you can start the process over again. Why not do something like that? You're saving money with this mass deportation. You're saving them money. I don't believe in a money requirement to become a citizen of any country. I think that's
absolutely
asinine.
I kind of see your point in the system that we have now. That kind of makes sense. That's a small way to try to neutralize the issue that's going on. But again, I'm always going to say, why do we fucking have borders? There's no point in that. It's stupid. Why does somebody get to own, this piece of land and not that piece of land just because they were born across imaginary borders? It's all bullshit. We're all human beings. We have one fucking planet to live on. We need to fucking stop playing these fucking games and start actually trying to save our species before we die. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm really into saving our species. I mean, we've killed 99% of the species on this planet already. We're next. It's going to happen.
Then you'll have, kings like Longshanks who would fire on his own men with arrows because he didn't care about his own men.
Right.
I'd rather not serve a king like that.
I'm not saying anything about kings. I don't give a shit about kingdoms. I don't give a shit about fucking capitalism. I don't give a shit about communism.
Somebody's got to make the rules, Sean.
Right, somebody does.
Yeah, make the rules. Again, if we're smart enough to go to the fucking moon, we can figure this shit out without killing everybody. It can happen.
Unfortunately not. Greedy people are always going to make it hard for the ones that want to think like
That's an excuse. That's a
evil will always exist, and it's human nature. Evil exists in the animal kingdom.
People have said that it's human nature for men to rape women throughout all of history. Is that true?
No, that's an extreme example of human nature.
So allowing our species to die.
But we're not. That's when I say a religious argument. I don't mean like God religion. You can have a religion, like science is a religion to an extent. It's just a very strong belief in something that if you believe it one way and I don't believe that, then you're making a religious argument to me because we can't even get on the same page. And when you speak about our species being on the verge of death, that's a religious argument. We can't even debate that because
I believe in the theory of that. I believe in the theory of gravity.
Right.
That's something that I think if we both go to the TCBY tower and we jump off, there's going to be a consequence. We're going to know.
Science.
Well, it's still a theory, though. People take theories all day long that are proven, right? And they try to say that, like evolution, for example. Evolution can't be true. Well, if we look at evolution, the survival of the species, the survival of the fittest and everything like that, we became the apex predator on this planet. And because of that, we have destroyed most of the other species. How long do you think we have if we keep going the way that we're going?
Where are you getting the information that we've destroyed 99% of the species on this planet?
In just the last 200 years, we have destroyed 99% of the species that are on this planet through industrialization. That's a fact. We know that for a fact. We know that we've done this. We know that if we don't stop, like the coral reefs are gone. We're killing them. There are some conservative issues that are out there. Conservative groups that are out there that are trying to help rebuild with stronger types of coral through unnatural forms of natural selection. They're trying to find the strongest ones out there. But, natural selection has proven true. We are the apex predator. We are it. We are killing everything. You look at what's going on in Africa right now. How many species have gone extinct? The black rhino? There aren't any more. We killed them all. You know this for a fact. Michael knows it for a fact. Antonio knows it for a fact. We did this.
I don't think it's 99% of the species, though.
That's from the beginning of
on the planet we killed. We do know this. How many more do we have to kill before we stop? There are 400 silverback gorillas left in the world. They're all in Africa. 400. How many do we have to kill before that species is, extinct that we really give a shit?
And that's the point is now we're going back to, now we've just circled back around and we've got back to Evil people will always exist. A good person's not going to go kill a silverback gorilla.
Evil is a concept. It's an idea. I mean,
but you can't.
sit there.
Getting back to what we were just talking about, you can't make that argument and then be completely for closed borders. Evil people are going to exist no matter what. The evil person's going to find a way into the country no matter what. I'm talking to Richard, Sean.
Oh.
Not everything's about you, Sean. Gosh.
Oh, yeah, sure you can, because now you're going back to see. Sean kind of creates a world where everything's subjective. Nothing is objective. Nothing has a line that you stand on. That line is just zigzags the whole way down, and it's constantly changing. And it's a subjective world. But the fact of the matter is we do live in a somewhat objective world. And there are objective truths about things that we can put a subjective spin on and try to make it untrue. And the fact of the matter is, it's just like law and order. It's proven through social science that law and order does save lives. Borders, having a sovereign nation, does save lives. And back to the Manic Hispanics point, he said, I don't want to live under a king. What you're talking about is globalism. If we don't have borders, we're not a sovereign nation, which means that somebody has to control everything, which means that we're going to live under some communist dictator, because that would become
it doesn't have to be communism at all. There is nothing out there that says we have to be under a communist dictatorship. Nothing at all. We could have a utopian system that actually works for everybody, where you have automation that takes care of most of manual labor. You get rid of like all the bullshit things that are out there, like insurance companies. I mean, they just prey on people anyway. They try to keep from paying policies and different things like that. What's the point of all that bullshit? You have universal health care that takes care of everybody, universal education for the betterment of the species, and all we do is try to create a better world for the next generation that comes along. Right now, we have a species that's only worried about itself. This particular generation, most people are individualists and they only care about themselves. They don't care about their children. They don't care about their grandchildren or the descendants after that. They don't give a fuck because they won't be here. And some of them basically think that, oh, well, I mean, we're going to be raptured anyway. God's going to recreate everything and we're going to have this perfect utopia in heaven. I mean, it's all bullshit. I mean, there's nothing to substantiate that. I'm trying to look at actual facts of what's going on the planet and what we can do to
You're
actually...
trying to talk about what's possible if everybody thinks like you think.
Right.
No one has
but
to think
everybody
like
don't think like you think, Sean.
This is going to happen no matter what. It's going to happen no matter... Mad Max, you've seen those movies. That's what we're looking at in the future.
You're always going to have the Charlie Mansons of the world and the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world that just prey on people anyway. And your utopian society is just going to be a barrel where somebody's going to come in and shoot fish in a barrel.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm stepping in, damn it. We're getting back on track.
All right, back on track. Non-citizens on a census count. What do we need a census count with non-citizens for? That one
Yeah,
I would agree
I
there.
agree with Manny on that one. I think
that one makes no sense. And actually, I heard that it could, and this could have been somebody going too deep into it, but somebody said that could be a way. They're actually looking at a way to get non-citizens representation in Congress.
That's exactly what it's for.
So certainly something that I wouldn't appreciate, but
right.
Because Congress is built off of population.
Right.
So when you build the population, and it's going to be in blue areas too, if they do that, if they get it done the way they want to do it, Republicans will never have the Congress back again. Never. They will own it forever.
To be fair, when Republicans are in gerrymandering, when Republicans are in power, they tend to like to redraw districts. I mean, either way is going to try to tilt it in their favor. Either side's going to try to tilt it in their favor, to be
right.
fair.
But the bottom line, our congressmen are supposed to represent citizens.
Like, I don't understand the whole point of why do we redistrict? Motherfucker, if it works the first time, then there you go. But
Well,
everybody wants to
No,
move it into their
gerrymandering
own.
was created by Democrats. No, seriously, Michael. Gerrymandering was created by Democrats to try to gain an advantage in Congress, right?
Right.
But
Republicans
that
do it
got turned
too.
around on them by Republicans who figured out what they were doing.
Right.
They used the same tool and they gained the advantage. Then Democrats cried foul. Oh, well, we can't have that. Bullshit.
Right.
You created the fucking thing to begin with.
Absolutely.
Right?
Like I said, it comes down to both sides are going to try to tilt it in their favor either way. I think that you should just leave it the way it fucking is. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
Well, that would be a democracy. We can't have that in America.
What?
Republic.
What's democracy?
No, we're a republic. We're not a democracy, though. Think about it.
Right.
Touche. Okay, Manny Hispani, I apologize.
Blocking deportation for Liberians that
Why are we trying
have
to
temporary
deport
protected
Liberians?
status since 1991, while Libya was going through, or Liberia, I'm sorry, was going through a conflict that ended in 2003.
Have they attempted to become citizens?
No,
Then
they're
I
just
don't
here
see
on
any
a
point in
temporary
keeping 'em.
protected status.
I don't see any point in keeping them here. I mean, I guess maybe if they have kids, I would hate to separate families, but I don't know. That one's a toughie for me.
Right.
Sean's over here doing something. He's pecking on a keyboard. You know when you look at an old person and you know they're typing and you can just tell by the way they're holding themselves
You got
that
one
they're
finger.
He
pecking
didn't
with
put
the
his
two
glasses
fingers?
down, though. Got to put his glasses down.
Asshole, piece of shit, fuck you. Motherfucker.
Oh, hold on. I'm. Oh wait. Oh,
looking at the comments.
Sean just commented on 3 different forums to say one thing. Okay. Anyway, I apologize.
It does that automatically. I didn't mean for it to do that.
It does. I'm just messing with you.
Right,
But no, if they haven't tried to become citizens, like I said, the only gray area I see is if they have families. They've been here since '91, so more than likely they have families here.
Right.
I'd hate to separate families. So,
right.
Do I hate the fact that he blocked their deportation? No. But do I think that they should try to become naturalized citizens? Yes. Sean, where do you fall on that? I guess.
I mean, I said it before. If parents come over here and the kids are born, yeah, I mean that's what the Constitution says. You're born here, you're a citizen.
This is specifically about the Liberian people that we, I guess, gave. What's the word I'm looking for? Asylum in '91.
How many people are we talking about? We gave all of them asylum.
Everybody that came over due to the conflict that was going on. But Trump had said,
It's
well,
another executive order.
The conflict ended in 2003. It's really not dangerous for you there anymore. So, March, I think it gave them to March 30th of 2021. Yeah.
That's a little ridiculous.
So
there has to be a statute.
No,
limitations.
So you wouldn't be opposed to them going back. You think it's ridiculous the time frame he gave them.
I mean, look at it this way. I live in America. I'm not happy about everything that goes on in this country in the way that it does. I don't like conservative politics, and I have to play by the rules. If I want to change things, I have to influence people to think the way that I do. I've got to play this stupid game. It's what everybody has to do, I don't agree with violence and revolution and all that shit. That's just not my style. I think that there are legal ways, that there are better ways to go about it. You should use your mind and reason and be able to articulate the things that you want to influence people the right way to believe what you may is the best way possible to do those things. Just because, hey, things are bad, I'm going to run to America because they're better. I mean, that doesn't change anything in the fucking country that you just left.
And the problem that I find with that line of thinking is once they get here, they want to change their area to be more like where they left that they said was so bad.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. You can't come to America and institute Sharia law here, which has happened. We've had Chinese people come here and do honor killings. We've had Muslim people come here and do honor killings. all sorts of people from different societies have come here and murdered people from their families because they didn't agree with their philosophical ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Over 100 cases I've read about recently, and just that's bullshit.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, murder.
You know, if their daughter wants to wear a fucking miniskirt and be a fucking woman in America because America allows that type of thing, cool.
There's
Let
a
her
needle
do
for
that.
that.
Don't kill her because of
I'm
it.
just saying. There's a needle for those people that are doing that here. I'm just saying.
But they won't do it to them.
They won't, because technically, I guess they could claim religious freedom, but
that's what they do. Most of them do claim religious freedom. They say, "Oh, well, I'm a Muslim and it's Sharia law, and we can't have that. An honor killing is a part of my religion. We can do this." Even Orthodox Jews do this bullshit.
Okay, Manny Hispani, what's next?
We already
Anything else?
covered the Climate Accords. What was the 1776 Commission? I guess I missed what
I've
exactly
heard that
was.
many a times, but I couldn't tell you.
It's basically an article that was written, and honestly, I can't remember exactly what the article said, and I didn't read all of it. One of the people that I listened to on a podcast, they talked about it, and basically, it's just defending the founding of America, the principles, the Constitution. That's basically what it is. It's not. It's
So, what did it need an executive order to do anything to it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It had to have been something more than just an article.
1776 Commission, Sean?
Okay, so the 1776 Commission is trying to erase what the
19 project.
Yeah.
1619 project.
There was a project that wanted to basically show the honesty of our history in this country, not just the whitewashed version that we are all spoon-fed in high school. And I agree with that. I think we should have the honest version. I think that we should be shown, how much of a bastard that
America's had moments where it was not in the best of light. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
we shouldn't always say,
on
America.
rape, slavery, murder, and genocide. And we should be honest about that. We should actually say, yes, white Europeans came over here and fucked everybody over.
Yeah.
It sucks.
We should be honest. We fucked up.
Yeah, I hate the fact that happened.
Otherwise, we're Germany ignoring the Holocaust.
Right. I mean, I don't have white guilt over it. I didn't own any slaves. That didn't happen to me. But I can acknowledge that bullshit happened in the past, and that sucks.
So what's the executive order? Is it blocking the ability to...
It's trying to stop the 1776 mandate that was going to just push that whitewashed history.
Oh, okay. Well, then I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's all it was. It was like, some people got offended by that first one, and they were like, no, we're going to do the whitewash one, and we're going to push it through. You know what? Fuck it. Just teach honest history. Just let it go through.
Right.
Some people aren't going to like it. Okay, fuck you. It doesn't matter. The Confederate flag stood for fucking white supremacy back in the Civil War. The guy that created it literally said so. And if people don't want to acknowledge that, fuck you. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to, there's no room, in my opinion, in school, and especially to teach anything but facts. And we shouldn't keep these kids from knowing the facts of what happened. Otherwise, you get a bunch of brainwashed kids.
If people don't like communism, okay, here's the fact. True. Martin Luther King Jr. was a card-carrying communist.
He was. No doubt.
People will not like that. That needs to be taught. That he was. Helen Keller was a communist. Most people don't know this. So there are truths that are avoided because they don't want to, perceive any kind of controversy. You know what?
Well, they buried the fact for the longest that Martin Luther King smoked and went out on his wife. They went out, they buried that for the longest. Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, that doesn't take away from the fact that Martin Luther King did some amazing things.
Right.
It might affect your opinion of him as a man, but that doesn't affect that he did some amazing things.
No one is perfect. Everyone is fucked up. Everyone has done something stupid. Everyone has made a major mistake in their life. Be honest about it.
I would, and
that's why we can't have utopia. That's why we can't have utopia.
I would.
We can.
Oh,
if we can go, no.
Hold on.
Right, that's the key word right there, Sean. If.
Yeah.
And that if will never happen.
No, it can. If we can go to the moon, which we did, right? We can do anything. Right?
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
We can't change the hearts of men.
Last one on this executive order.
Marty
I'd
Robbins
rather learn the
30
HBO
years.
version of America than the Nick Jr. version of America. Anyway, continue.
Revoking Trump's executive order limiting the ability to hold diversity and inclusion training.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's absolutely unacceptable that he did that, and I scratched my head when he did that. I'm like, bro, you're trying to prove that you're not a racist, but you're doing this shit. Like, you're not helping yourself.
Who, Trump? So you think that we should have like sensitivity training and racial training and all that kind of stuff? That's asinine.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely asinine to have sensitivity and racial training.
I agree with. Some of what Richard's saying, I agree with. There are some things that they take too far that is politically correct because too many people are too goddamn sensitive about bullshit in this country. Okay? There is a point that Michael makes that we should actually educate people that, okay, women have rights in this country. Do they not? They are 50% of the population. They are just as good as men. They should have equal rights all across the board as men do, but they don't.
They do.
We should be able to argue that. We should be able to perpetuate and put legislation in that equals, that breaks the class barrier.
What legislation is different for a man over a woman? Name one piece of legislation that gives a man power that a woman doesn't have. As a matter of fact, the only legislation that separates a man from a woman is the right to abortion.
There's systematic misogyny.
No, it does not exist. Find it on the wall. Find it in the book. Show me a law.
Talk about laws all day long, but you can look at the system and how they go around that and how they fuck people over that are minorities in this country time and time again. It happens every day.
You can't say it's the system working against.
White privilege exists. There is such a thing as white privilege.
Okay, y'all. Next one.
Are you sure you want this next one?
I'm not so sure. I mean, Sean
racism.
and Richard are just going crazy on each other after every one.
Rooting out systemic racism. Domestic Policy Council, removing the barriers to opportunities in policies and programs.
Read it one more time.
Trying to figure out what barriers there are in policies and programs that are stopping a person of color or a person of a certain gender or a person of a certain age from doing anything other than these 55 and over communities.
I would say that falls again under systematic racism because when you look at America, what is the majority that is shown in popular culture? What is shown on the news as far as being positive? What is shown throughout our scientific community as being positive? White people. White people are successful. White people do this. White people do that. But
I would just like to point out Sean has officially put on the glasses.
I have. But when you look in entertainment, how they portray minorities in this country, Hispanics and blacks are shown as being villainous throughout the entertainment industry.
But this doesn't have to do with the entertainment industry. This has to do with attacking systemic racism.
This is a part of systemic racism. Blacks and Hispanics.
They're not going to go after Hollywood.
Dude, you have to go after Hollywood.
They're not going to.
Problem. Hollywood does this. They perpetuate systemic racism.
But they're not going to. That's my point. I'm not saying that they shouldn't.
Fear.
I'm just saying
it isn't systemic racism.
It is.
I mean, they take a doll in Chucky and prey on your fear. They take a witch in the Conjuring and perpetuate the fear. It isn't about a race or a sex or an age.
So over
if you're a young black child, you're 12 years old, okay? Let's play this game. You're a 12-year-old black child. You're watching television. how much of your race is actually shown in entertainment on television in 2021.
Sean, I think he's referring to the laws, though, whenever he's doing this executive order. I'm just
Systemic
saying.
racism doesn't have to do anything with the law. It's systematic.
So how do you fix it then? How do you fix it? If it's this problem out in the ether, how do you fix it? You keep saying this, but if there's already laws in place that protect it, then really you're just saying words because you can't do anything about it if what you're saying is correct.
But we're bringing this up. We're talking about this. The reality of what's happening. People have to see it for the reality that it is.
I would agree with that.
People don't see it as the reality that it is. A 12-year-old black male looks at television today. Where is his representation? Seriously, where is his representation on American television?
Dude, it's all, I mean, look at all the famous black actors that are out there that are not villains. I mean, you got black actors, you got
black athletes.
Wait, stop. A 12-year-old black male.
Black athletes.
Where's his representation? How
You're talking about a 12-year-old star?
What are you talking about? Where's his representation? There's black athletes. There's more black athletes than white at this point. There's black movie stars. There's black. I mean, you're trying to like seek out racism. Black people are only 13% of the population. Obviously, there's going to be less of them.
Everything is white entertainment television except for BET. Everything out there is white entertainment television. The entire world is created for me.
Billionaire. Why? A black man. Billionaire.
But I'm talking about that 12-year-old kid who lives in Harlem, who is poor as fuck. Where's his representation every day on entertainment? Where is it?
Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, Tyler Perry, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman.
Tyler Perry's a millionaire. That doesn't represent a 12-year-old poor black kid in Harlem.
Okay, in Harlem, well, you don't have. So let's look at all the black mayors and black governors and the black president, Barack Hussein Obama.
We had a couple of kids on different strokes. We had
our black vice president.
The vice president is a woman. Okay, I'm talking about a 12-year-old black child right now. Where's his representation?
You want an exact match for somebody, John.
Okay, we're going to stick a pin in this because we're going to continue to.
Michael, the Manic Hispanic, Richard the Spartan, every one of us have some exact match that's our age, that looks just like us, that's in the entertainment industry. Black people don't have a lot of that. They're like less than 2%. Less than 2%. Unless they're in the sports industry, playing football, basketball, or baseball, dancing for the man, right? They don't have representation in entertainment.
Next one, please.
I still don't see where there is a policy or a program that has barriers for opportunities for people of different classes, different races, different sexes. I don't see it.
Affirmative action. They actually have more than we do.
At the end of the day,
we don't have it anymore. Clinton signed that away.
At the end of the day, the only thing you can do is drop everything. No certifications for anything, no degrees for anything. If you decide you want to do something today, you go and do it, because we don't want to put a barrier on you.
But we should have affirmative action, because if we don't have those programs that are in place, then minorities don't have a chance to actually be on a leveling playing field with white Americans. It's not fair.
I don't understand fair, not fair. You standardize a test. If you can pass the test, you go to the next level. If you can't pass the test, why should you be allowed to go to the next level?
I mean, all I see on the screen right here are, 4 predominantly white guys and an Hispanic guy who looks as white as I do, right? And all of us have advantages over minorities in this country, over women, over
Manny
darker
Hispanics'
skinned
name is
Hispanics,
literally
over
Manny
blacks.
Hispanic.
You know, I mean,
I don't think he's a majority. I think he's a minority. So 3.
look at Michael.
Yeah,
Michael
he sees me
giving
as
out.
white as he is.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, next one.
You weren't even close on your. Hang on, I got to make this one point. You weren't even remotely close on your minorities having roles in Hollywood. 27.6% is how which there's 13% of the population are black and 27.6 in the movie industry. So you were way off there.
So 27.6% represented the African American African American.
Well, it's
race.
minority. So I mean, you could be African American and Hispanic. It doesn't really break it down. It just says minority. And so yes, 27.6 in 2019. 27.6 of the movie industry are minority. 27.6. So you're over almost double, but you're over double what the black population is in the United States. So really, per capita, there's more minority in Hollywood than there are white people per capita of citizens in the United States. So per capita, they're winning. They're winning, baby.
But they're not. You just said there's 27%.
27.6%. If the population
100%, 76% that are the majority.
If you have 13% of a population, okay, and 27% of that 13, all right, so you've got 13% of a population, and so of the whole United States population,
right,
and so you have an organization, and you bring a mixture of everybody in.
Right.
And so there's a much larger percentage of white people than there are black people in the United States, period.
Right.
So per capita, if you have 27% of that population within that industry as a minority, per capita, that's higher than white people.
Right. But 73% is still white people. 73%.
So you're not going to be happy till all white people are eradicated off the face of the earth?
No. What I'm saying is that minorities are highly underrepresented in this country. I mean, let's look at Fox, for example. Fox Channel, which here in Arkansas is Fox 16, they played this television program called Cops for 30 fucking years? The majority of the people that were on that show were black. The majority of the people were demonized because they were shown, right, in a negative light.
Go on over to the first 48, which is still shown.
I watch it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of them are black.
The majority of them are.
Yeah. But that's
okay. I failed to see your point, Sean.
Perpetuated. That's what I was
talking about. The point is, this film crew follows a police department.
Are perpetuated as villainous in the entertainment industry throughout. I've been saying this for 30 minutes now?
Those camera crews follow the police department where they go.
Yes.
Which is where
the police department don't control who's committing the crimes.
Right.
Systematic racism.
Okay.
So on the first 48, you're telling me that the system has made a black person kill another black person.
No, but the way that they treat the black people on the show is systematic racism. Yes.
Okay, I'm making an decision. We're moving on from this topic. We've been on it for an hour. Okay. Is China posing a potential national security threat? Manny, I'll let you introduce this topic because you were the one who was explaining it, so you can kind of explain it a little bit better than I can.
Did you pull a video?
I got a video of Blinken today speaking about the national security threat that he believes they propose, but I didn't see an actual video that I could pull.
Okay. Basically, what I'm gathering from the reports are America is very dependent on foreign parts for so much stuff, and if I can find my paper that I wrote notes on. Okay, a reliance on Chinese imports. Studies showing that thousands of instances where the U.S. military depends on foreign countries, especially China, for critical materials, and they're scared that we are too dependent on these foreign supplies, which give us our microelectronics and our transistors and integrated circuits that go into our satellites and our cruise missiles and our drones and our cell phones and our VTech children's devices, so that at any point, China, because they happen to be the biggest manufacturer of the stuff that we're buying, can flip a switch and listen in on our products, know where we're at. If stuff gets real and we shoot missiles over there, they can hit a kill switch to down any missiles headed their direction. So if we have everything rolled up into something that China could possibly control, how much defense do we really have?
I would agree with that. If this is true, and this is actually found to be true, I feel like it's an issue and it needs to be addressed immediately. I don't know if you saw my message in the group chat earlier today, but you know, we can sit there and recall parts all day, and all of a sudden, you know, go in and get the defective parts out. What the military needs to do is they need to take all of our vehicles and they need to look and, you know, inspect them and make sure that these parts don't exist. If these parts do exist, they need to disable them or, you know, replace them.
Right, because then the thing you really start looking at is how deep does it go? I mean, where they talk about satellites, how many of the satellites that we use currently for our GPS and all of that has these parts that they can just kill the switch right there and leave us in the dark?
Right.
This is actually nothing new. It's been happening for years, actually. China's been stealing our intellectual property. They've been trying to spy on us however they can for years and years. I mean, this has been going on.
Well, as far as the spying goes, I think we've had spies caught in China. Like, that's just games, nations playing games with each other.
Sure.
That part's just, I blow that off as nations playing games with each other. But, you know, that's how I feel about it. If it's
Trump kind of ruffled feathers whenever he put a stop to the trade agreements that we had and started imposing the whatchamacallits, the tariffs,
sanctions,
imposing the tariffs on them, and started changing things a little bit. But now Biden has kind of backed off of all that.
I also hate to say this, but do you really want to poke the beast when they could probably, and this is not something I say very often, but could probably come over here and whoop our ass?
Right, and this is speculation. I'm sure Trump had something in route. I really think that he was in the process of changing some of that stuff.
Right. Sean, any ideas on this? If there's, you know, potential kill switches, you know, anything like that? Any thoughts?
It really doesn't matter. China's been stealing our technology for 20, 30, 40
like
years.
Richard said.
Yeah, they buy a car, they do reverse engineering, they figure out what it is, they build the exact same thing, they put a new name on it. That's what China does.
Right.
China has a 100 million man standing army. If China wants to take over the world tomorrow, game over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No one can stop. No one. There is not a country around that can stop China. It's like I said a couple weeks ago, we're all going to be speaking Chinese in a couple, you know, decades or so. It's just the way it is. China's played the slow game for 10,000 years.
I mean, at least I like General Tso's chicken, so we're cool.
China will win. There is no government that can stop what China is going to do. They just outnumber us.
I made a joke and Sean just walked right past it.
Yeah.
If you want to launch nukes and you want to destroy a species, sure, you can stop them that way, but then we all lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, damn, for somebody that talks about the Republican fear-mongering, God bless, Sean. You just painted a dark-ass picture.
I mean, I've been saying this for years, too. I mean, you've been paying attention. Yeah.
I understand. Okay, guys. So getting to the next one here. Rudy Giuliani is going to be sued by Dominion Voting Systems over improper claims he's made since the election. And we do have a story from CNN.
Breaking news. Dominion Voting Systems has filed a $1.3 billion lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani for defamation after he and others spread the false conspiracy theory that the company's machines flip votes from Trump to President Biden. This is a taste of the type of thing that Giuliani was saying. Listen.
Last night, one of the experts that has examined these crooked Dominion machines has absolutely what he believes is conclusive proof that in the last 10%, 15% of the vote counted, the votes were deliberately changed.
CNN legal analyst Ellie Honig joins us.
Okay, we don't need all of that. Okay, so with that being said, Rudy Giuliani's being sued. He's probably going to end up paying out the ass for this. I think they said $1.3 million.
Billion.
Billion? Ooh, God bless. Rudy's going to end up in the poorhouse. Anyway, with that being said, this is just the start, I think. If I'm Trump, I'm suing his ass because Trump got into hot water because of his ass. Rudy at this point just needs to go fucking crawl in a hole till he passes away. Because Rudy has managed to fuck everything he touches up since this election. I mean, I truly now, after going back and thinking about it, it's his fault that the situation at the Capitol occurred. I can't really put that on Donald based upon words. It was Rudy out there saying, let's go have trial by combat. This guy just fucks everything up that he touches. We'll start with you, Manny Hispani.
Well, the problem I have is with the wording. Defamation, and they are suing for damage.
Wouldn't it be slander, or are they the same thing?
No, it's defamation, but they're suing for damages. And I'm trying to find out what all Dominion is into, that them saying that this software was faulty would cost them $1.8 billion in damages.
That's actually an interesting thought. I mean, I would think maybe worldwide, maybe they have multiple, maybe France wouldn't use Dominion voting systems in their next election or something. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I could think of besides just the contract with us, obviously.
The other point of that would be him. Yes, he knocked Dominion, but he knocked Dominion through another person.
Right, there you go. His wording is supposed to get him out of it.
We had a technician tell us this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. So it's not that he was just saying, "Oh, y'all are pulling the wool over people's eyes."
But isn't that passing the buck?
He's an attorney. He's an attorney. That's what attorneys do. He was.
So you're not necessarily saying he's not to blame. You're saying that he's doing what attorneys do.
Right. He was smart about his wording. He won't lose this case because of his wording. It'll be dropped.
I'm listening. I just got to do something real quick.
Okay, right on. Sean, any thoughts on this defamation lawsuit?
Yeah, it's horseshit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's absolute horseshit. That's what they're going after him for. They're going to say defamation. Can they prove it? No.
Yeah.
Can they?
I agree.
I
mean, honestly, seriously, what can you prove in a court of law? It's all about what you can prove, no matter.
I mean, now that you pointed out exactly what he said and how he can misdirect it, good point.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, that's just the way it is. It's what you can prove. When you get into a court of law, it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. It's all about what you can prove. That's it.
Okay.
That's why OJ went free.
Okay, guys, we're going to have a fun little segment here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders officially announced her gubernatorial run today.
We didn't finish everything. You skipped over a few of those.
No, I really didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Inauguration, executive order, China.
Executive orders. You skipped a few of those.
Yes, because they took an hour at the time we stopped, Sean.
Hey, you know what I want put together the schedule.
You know what I want you to talk about.
What do you want me to talk about, Sean?
Mr. Joe Biden wants to allow cosplayers to believe that they're fucking women, right?
Okay, go ahead.
To be able to have fucking cabinet positions.
The brand new glass ceiling that Joe Biden has installed.
Right? They want
as long as their credentials meet what the fuck the requirements are for the office, I don't give a fuck if they identify as a goddamn turtle.
But here's my question.
Really? What about biological reality?
Right. This is one that Sean.
What does that have to do with you getting a job, Sean? If you meet the requirements and you think
my daughter getting a job, it has everything to do with my wife getting a job, or any of my nieces, my nephews, my aunts, my sisters, my grandmother. If my grandmother wanted that fucking position, she couldn't get it because a white man said he's a girl and he can fucking have the job because Joe Biden wants diversity. Fuck that.
Feminism is dead under this administration. The feminism movement is completely dead. They're allowing.
There's no radical feminists out there that
agree with
boldly fight this bullshit, and they should.
Right,
and I with them.
But true first wave feminism, from it's over as far as under the administration, because he's now passing laws to allow you can put a skirt on right now and go run track or do whatever you want with a female and deny biological facts that men are naturally stronger, faster than females. It's just natural.
Y'all still haven't answered the question. I have no problem with y'all bringing up biological fact, but my point is, if Joe Biden wants to name a transsexual person the Secretary of State, as long as their credentials fucking meet the ability to be a Secretary of State and a damn good one at that, I don't give a fuck what the fuck you identify as.
As long as that person is claiming to be something that they're not, it's bullshit.
Yep.
That's the problem. That we have.
I don't so much care about a position of employment. What I'm looking
I don't give
at,
a fuck about position of employment.
I do.
What I'm looking at are programs that are tailored for women.
Yep.
I wouldn't disagree
that
there.
now those women will not get ever.
Do I want them to play in the WNBA? No, I don't think that's right.
But that man that took that job at the health department, is claiming he's a cosplayer. He says, I'm a woman. He took a position from a fucking woman, a real woman, one that was actually born because he felt like a woman.
So there's a guarantee that Joe would have named a woman in that spot instead of a man if it wouldn't have went to the transsexual person.
He put the trainee in there because he's trying to play identity.
But what you're saying is that trainee took a spot from a woman.
Fucking election.
You just said that he took a spot from a woman. So there is a guarantee from Joe Biden that he would have nominated a woman if he would not have nominated that transsexual person. Then your argument is invalid.
Like he did and been honest about it.
Your argument is invalid. He did not take a spot from a woman. He did not take a spot from a woman. Joe did not come out and say, if I would not have nominated this transsexual person, I would have nominated a woman. You don't know that. None of us on this podcast know that he took a job from a woman or whatever the person wants to be.
He nominated a man pretending to be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that he would have nominated a woman instead.
And took a job from a real woman.
That doesn't mean that he would have nominated a real woman instead.
Then he should be honest and say, I gave the job to a white dude that's wearing a dress.
Anyway, moving along. Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced her Arkansas Gubernatorial run today. We're going to do something fun. We're going to sit here and react to her first political ad announcing her run for President of the United States. Or, God damn it, not President. Arkansas Governor. Here we go. Sean, fuck you. You got me all fucked up.
Yeah, I do.
Get ready for the
pitch black
political
of
boner.
night, with no lights on the plane or runway, Air Force One touched down in war-torn Iraq. Nearby, hundreds of troops had gathered at a remote military base in the desert to celebrate Christmas. They expected to be joined by senior military leadership, but instead got their commander-in-chief. The room erupted. A young soldier yelled from the back of the room, "Mr. President, I re-enlisted in the Army because of you." And the president replied, "And son, I'm here because of you." That soldier then came over to me and said, "Thank you, Sarah. I love the way you handle yourself. You have a tough job." I politely corrected him and told him thanks. But I take questions. You take bombs and bullets. That's a tough job. The soldier silently reached up and tore the Brave Rifles patch from his arm and handed it to me and said, "We're in this together." Overwhelmed with emotion and speechless, I just hugged him with tears in my eyes and a grateful heart for our heroes who keep us free. America is great because we are free. But today, our freedom and the rule of law are under attack. I was the first White House press secretary to require Secret Service protection because of a credible, violent threat against me. We've seen violence in our streets, at a congressional baseball practice, and at our Capitol. This is not who we are as Americans. To remain free, we must have law and order and resolve our differences peacefully. The radical left's solution is to impose government control and censorship from the top down. But their socialism and cancel culture will not heal America. It will only further divide and destroy us. Everything we love about America is at stake. And with the radical left now in control of Washington, your governor is your last line of defense. In fact, your governor must be on the front line. So today, I announce my candidacy for governor of Arkansas and ask for your prayers and your support. As governor, I will defend your right to be free of socialism and tyranny, your Second Amendment right to keep your family safe, and your freedom of speech and religious liberty. Our state needs a leader with the courage to do what's right, not what's politically correct or convenient. I took on the media, the radical left, and their cancel culture, and I won. As governor, I will be your voice and never let them silence you. My dad always said, the real test of a leader is not the way you handle the issues you know are coming. It's rising to the moment in a crisis you can never plan for. I've been tested under fire, successfully managing one crisis after another in one of the most difficult, high-pressure jobs in all of government. At the table with President Trump, confronting our most dangerous adversaries like China and North Korea, winning on tax cuts, the border, and judges, enduring relentless attacks, but still getting the job done. I was only the third woman and the first mom to serve as White House press secretary. And with your support, I hope to be the first woman to lead our state as governor. Arkansas is home. I grew up in Pine Bluff and Texarkana. I'm a proud graduate of Little Rock Central High and Ouachita Baptist University. My husband Brian and I started our marriage here, and this is where we chose to raise our family. Arkansas is the land of opportunity, where Sam Walton grew a little 5 and dime store into the most successful business on the face of the earth. It's the home of legends like Al Green and Johnny Cash, who pioneered a new American sound. It's where Daisy Bates and the Little Rock Nine struck a blow against racism and blazed a trail for civil rights. Arkansas is God's country, a natural state. You haven't lived until you float the clear, free-flowing waters of the Buffalo River through the Ozark Mountains, or watch the sunrise on a duck hunt in flooded green timber. I love my state and care about our people. When small businesses first took a hit at the beginning of the pandemic, I knew we had to do something to help. So my husband Brian and I launched the Arkansas 30-Day Fund to raise money from the private sector to help small businesses in every corner of Arkansas keep their doors open and save jobs. As your governor, I will not be intimidated by the serious challenges we face. I will courageously lead.
Sarah Huckabee.
I will stand with our brave law enforcement officers, promote law and order, and keep our communities safe. I will prohibit sanctuary cities and cut off funding
There's
for
a man
cities that
running again.
deliberately violate immigration laws. I will fight back against the radical environmental policies
There's never
like the
been a
Green New
sanctuary
Deal
city in
that threaten to destroy so many jobs. I will take on the bureaucracy, reduce the cost and size of government, and make it accountable to you. I will lower the state income tax to reward hard work, allow our businesses to compete, grow, and prosper, and create more good jobs.
That's social.
I will champion good schools and good teachers,
right?
But also offer more choices to parents of kids in failing schools. Every child must have the opportunity of a quality education, and no child should ever be trapped in a life of poverty and despair. Our goal shouldn't be to take assistance away from the working poor, but to offer the right education and job training opportunities to incentivize work and unleash hope for a better future. We will succeed, but only if we hold the line against the attacks on our freedom and push forward with fresh ideas under a new generation of leadership. It will be a long, hard fight, and my opponents are already turning their fire on me. But here's the truth. As White House press secretary, I never had to worry about the far left and their allies at CNN or the New York Times defining me, because I have a creator who's already done that. I'm a Christian, a wife, a mom, a proud Arkansan. My opponents will do everything in their power to destroy me. But I will not apologize for who I am or who I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for you. I will not retreat. I will not surrender. And I will not bow down to the radical left. Not now, not ever. As governor, I will defend our freedom and lead with heart. I hope you will stand with me by going to sarahforgovernor.com to donate and join our movement. Thank you. May God bless America, and may God bless the great state of Arkansas.
Got a question. Where'd he go? He already didn't want to answer the question.
I don't know where he went. Let's see. Michael. I sound like I'm on the Lice Boys.
Oh, there
he is.
Okay, so now that we got that,
I got a question, Mike.
Pro Arkansas boner out of the way. What's up?
Why did we do this video different than we've done every video on the show?
Sean wanted to be able to talk over it.
Sean wanted to be able to interrupt. So that's basically what this was a chance for Sean to be able to get his bullshit out there.
Oh, shit.
And you allow it. So what's the point of the show? This should be the Sean show, not American Idiots.
I mean, he asked for the opportunity. I said I'm fine with it. Y'all could have.
I actually forgot we were doing it that way. That we were actually going to actually hear us. Yeah.
Y'all could have spoke up as well. But with that being said, Manny Hispani, what'd you think of Sarah's first go of it?
Typical speech. I mean, that is a typical political speech. Bottom line.
It was pretty
the one
typical.
thing I've had a problem with Miss Huckabee Sanders is her monotone speaking.
Ooh, she was really monotone.
She's always been. That is my biggest issue with it. Now, what I can't figure is why Sean is against her, because she outlined basically everything that he backs. You know, no child left behind. We got to educate everybody, regardless of where they come from. So I don't understand why Sean's against her.
I think my big deal with her first little run here, it felt more like a presidential ad than it did a fucking Arkansas gubernatorial ad. For the first quarter to a half of it,
for the president. So I mean, she got a crash course in how to do big politics.
She was the press secretary. She answered questions. Did she make any decisions?
What was the first thing she said, though?
What are you talking about? Telling the story about the troop in Iraq?
How she said that she was protected by left-wing extremists because she's a goddamn victim.
Left-wing.
She's a fucking victim because that's what fucking extremist.
Well, they really did threaten her life.
Oh,
they did do that.
I mean, they did do that.
But she has to point out that she's a goddamn victim. Which really made me laugh. The whole time that she was there, she perpetuated Trump's lies. She actually, supported everything that was false that he actually said. If she were honest about the shit, she ought to just come out and say, look, you know what? I was a part of an administration that had some fucked up shit that happened. I'm sorry that I was a part of that, but I want to do better. I could respect that. I could really respect that if she fucking came out and said that. But then she comes out with this whole, I'm a Christian and I've believed in Arkansas values for so goddamn long with this fake goddamn fucking, accent that I got now that she didn't have the whole fucking time for 3.5 years that she was there.
True.
I mean, I don't really bothered me. All of a sudden she does?
That really bothered me too. She was like, me and my husband started our marriage here. Okay, that may be true, but we chose to raise our kids here. You haven't been here in how many years?
Some other man, because that's what he believed in. Fuck that. That's religious bullshit.
Let's be honest here. If you look at Sarah, and I mean, I know we're talking about a politician, and I'm holding her to too high of a standard, but you're sitting here telling us that you chose to raise your family here. You chose to raise your kids here. Where have you been, number one? And number two, would you have come back if there wasn't a gubernatorial spot waiting for you?
For 7 years. She hasn't lived here for 7 years.
Hold on.
Let me ask a question to both of y'all. So, are either of y'all going to vote Republican in this election, Arkansas, period? Is there any
gubernatorial spot?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Every time that there is a local election, there is a particular Republican that I vote for. Because he believes in the fucking values that I believe in, and he does things to help in betterment the community that's around here.
The reason I ask that is because she's trying to appeal to people like me. That's who she's trying to appeal to.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you something. I had no clue who I was going to vote for. I've actually met Leslie Rutledge before and spoke to her. I don't know the other guy. What's his name?
Tim Griffin.
Tim Griffin. I don't know him. I don't really know anything about him. Right.
He was.
But I'm going to tell y'all something. And y'all going to think I'm crazy, but watching that video, it's the first time I've seen it. I had chills. I was inspired by it. And I will vote for her now. I just made my mind up on this podcast. I'm voting for Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Sean, calm down.
Okay, but wait.
She obviously did a good job.
I called this 6 months ago. I told you what was going to happen. I told you that Leslie Rutledge was going to run. I told you that Sarah Huckabee was going to run. And then what did I say? A man is going to come in, and he's going to run. That man
He was in before
win.
her, to be fair. He announced before her.
That man will win.
Whenever she left the White House, us three were already talking about, I bet she's going to come and run for governor of Arkansas. So you can't just throw it out there, Sean, that you were the great soothsayer of all that shit.
I would agree with that. But I will say this, though.
I just say a man will win because Arkansas is too sexist to vote for a woman. It will not happen.
And Manny, you guys really didn't.
I think Sarah will get it.
You guys really didn't answer what I said. Do you think she came back Do you think she came back because she wanted to, or do you think she came back because she had a spot waiting for her?
I think she came back for the
spot.
I think she came because she had a spot.
Her daddy was the governor, so she thinks she has a chance to be the governor because she was a Trumper.
I agree.
I think she'll win. We're a very red state.
I mean, there's three people on here. I absolutely think that she will win. She will win because of the Trump crowd in this state.
No.
She will win large.
Griffin will win. I'm calling it now.
Mike.
If it's
she
Griffin,
will win bigly.
If it is Griffin, Huckabee, and Rutledge, Griffin will win.
Sean, are you a gambling man, Sean?
Yes, I am. 125, 2021. How much?
$20 says she wins.
Right there.
All right. Y'all saw it. Two witnesses.
Hey.
There it is.
We're gambling in front of children.
Good
Good
night.
night.
But no, for real, I think she'll win. God bless.
God bless.
No, but no, I mean, the two things I have is I feel like she directly lied to people to mislead them, saying, "Oh, I have so much love for this state." Woman, just be honest and say, I would respect her a lot more if she would have said, "You know what? I had an opportunity. I do want to make this state better. That's why I came back." I feel like you don't need to mislead people.
But two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once.
I think she would have came back if she wouldn't have the governorship.
Maybe I could move to Florida right now, but I'm still going to love Arkansas. It's my home. I can live anywhere in the nation I want to live with my job. I really can. I can live anywhere I want. I stay right here because I love this
I lived
state.
in California for 3 years and still rooted for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, that's it.
I've lived from New York to California to Hawaii down to Mexico. I've been all over this country.
You hate it here.
I'm back in Arkansas. I don't like Arkansas. I'm the first to admit it. I don't like Arkansas because of the politics. But it's where I was raised.
Right.
This is my home.
It's your roots.
And I want there to be better opportunities in this state. You know, like when FedEx went to Memphis, that was a direct result because of Sarah Huckabee's father. He would not give them the tax cuts to build them
That is a fact.
a private airstrip so that they could have what they wanted, and all those jobs went to Memphis. Okay? It's stupid decisions by our legislation here in Arkansas that turned me against the GOP.
Now, there's a couple things in that made me kind of scratch my head. She said she's going to lower taxes. She's going to bring more jobs. Hold on, Sean. She said she's going to bring more jobs to Arkansas, et cetera, et cetera. It almost sounded like she was actually saying Asa didn't do a good enough job of that.
Well, she hates Asa.
Did anybody pick up on that? Like, is she saying that Asa, as a current Republican governor, is not doing a good enough job in the state to do these things? Because Asa's been killing it, as far as I know, on jobs.
No, that's what they do. They turn on each other.
That's just politics.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Asa personally, but
Really?
I mean, that's just, I'm not a fan of him.
I mean,
think he's
Asa's more of a centrist. I would actually say that than most that we've had here in Arkansas. I mean, Huckabee was definitely far right.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess final topic here, unless y'all want to roast Sarah anymore or heap love on her. Okay, American Idiot of the Week. I'm going to go ahead and get mine out of the way. I'm going Rudy. Rudy has managed to step in every landmine he possibly could since the election, so Rudy gets my American Idiot of the Week. Manny?
I'm going to go with this company and the decision makers in the company that allowed how many thousand vials of
that's a good
the COVID vaccine to spoil.
It was
thousands
and thousands. That was in Wisconsin, right?
I mean, yes, that was just duh. Somebody made a mistake there.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody's losing their job. Richard, who's your American Idiot?
I'll go kind of along those lines with Chris Cuomo. Throwing out he was going to fine people $1 million instead of actually taking the vaccine that's left over and just giving it to whoever wants it. He would rather let it spool, and he threatens them with $1 million fine if they actually don't give out the vaccine in the way that he says it has to be given out.
Shit.
Yes. $1 million fine to any medical company that gives out, any pharmacy or whatever that gives out the vaccine not in the correct order.
Cuomo fucked that up.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
Cuomo fucked that up. Sean, I know who yours is going to be just by the hints you've been leaving, but go ahead and make our new president your American Idiot of the Week.
I want to say something that kind of collaborates what Richard just said. The man who created the polio vaccine gave it away. He did it for free. Sure. Millions of people across this nation were able to receive that vaccine, and they didn't get polio. I personally know a lady who has passed away who actually had polio, and she was paralyzed for the rest of her life because she didn't receive that vaccine in time. And that's sad. So, that being said, I hope that everyone gets the vaccine. I am a vaxxer. I hope that everyone does what they're supposed to do. Wear your mask, do everything that you're supposed to do. But, we have to rely on scientific facts that are verified, that everyone can see, that can, go through the whole motions of everything and try to keep emotion out of it and try to actually see how things work. That's what we need to do. But my American Idiot of the Week, I have to say, is Joe Biden. You guys knew who it was going to be. He wants to perpetuate this stupid fucking cosplay, I'm a fucking woman bullshit because I feel like a woman. No, I don't play that shit. Biological science is a reality.
Thank you.
Men are men, women are women. There are some hermaphrodites that are out there. There are some genetic anomalies that are out there. But just because you feel like a woman doesn't make you a fucking woman, okay? So all these executive orders that he's put out there to try to stop girls from getting scholarships in colleges they've worked their entire lives for, and some asshole that can't make it, in the men's field decides, well, I can be a woman and I can go over and get a scholarship. I can be number one. Fuck that. That's all I got to say.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, for the Manic Hispanic, Richard the Spartan, and the Black Sheep, we will see you next week. Have a good evening.
This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.